And you're not going to logically talk that baby out of what it needs to survive. It's going to cry and fuss until it accomplishes hopefully what it needs. It's the basement. And although you can kind of travel to the main floor, maybe a little bit, it primarily exists in the basement. But as time goes by, 3 to 6 months after the birth of the baby, it starts cooing and it starts smiling, in a healthy, typical baby. And that means it's traveling up to the main floor, right, where emotions live. Remember, the basement is primarily survival. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn, those kind of things. The main basic things that you need for survival. But the main floor, that's where emotions live. And so that baby starts to grow 3 to 6 months after the birth. It's able to kind of travel up in a normal, typical child and access the brain house, the main level of the brain house where the emotions live. And that, if you wanted to look at it, is more like a little circle, which is the child, and a line, and another circle, which is the relationship of another person. So now, as it grows into being a toddler and older and things like that, able to have more one-on-one relationships. It's not that the universe revolves around them. It's that they can have a one-on-one relationship, hopefully. And as the child grows into being a teenager, a young adult, healthy, everything's okay, it's able to build the stairs in its brain house and get to that attic and be able to access that attic. And if you want to look in the relationships of that attic, that is more logical. It's more profound. You can get married. It's a nice, healthy, profound relationship, more intimate. The relationship it can have with its parents is more empathetic, more caring, more intense, more personal. Not one-on-one, what you give me, give and take, but more giving, right? But what happens, even prenatally, all the way through, if we have trauma, and if we're impacted from trauma in such a way that we have an attachment disorder? And that's what we're going to talk about today. So an attachment disorder, the way I would look at it, is the stairs are blocked or broken, and you're not able to access the main floor, or you're not able to access the attic. What would that look like? Well, in an adult, it might look like someone that cheats on their spouse that they've made profound promises to, but they're tempted and they're not able to have those deep commitments that you would expect. It could be someone that's too clingy. You hear those stories about mother-in-laws that their sons get married and they just don't really want to let go. They see the spouse of their son as a competition, and they're interfering, and just really, you hear the fun stories about that. That might be a mother or a mother-in-law that has an attachment disorder. She's not able to have that letting go and letting the child develop and move on. She sees it instead as a competition. Greedy, I want you. I don't want anybody else to have you. It's more about me. It's more narcissistic kind of thing. So it could be that. It could be somebody that tries overly to please other people. Never say no. They just do because they want to be accepted and loved. So those are the kind of things that could illustrate. They feel like they never belong, no matter how hard they try. They don't fit in. Those would be very painful things to have, and an attachment disorder can be painful. So let's tell some stories. Well, okay. In the 1950s and 1960s, they sort of thought prior to that if a child was fed and given the main things it needed to live, that it would attach to whoever provided those things, the food or the milk or the heat, the pillows, whatever. But they did this study. That was interesting. They took these monkeys, the Raleigh monkeys, and it was Mr. Harlow. So if you want to look it up, Harlow Zimmerman studies. You can Google them and see more intense about the studies. They did these studies and they took these baby monkeys right away from their mothers, like right at birth. They took these baby Riley monkeys away and they put them in a cage and they put a wire monkey. It was just a pretend monkey made of wire. And in that wire was a bottle so that the babies could go up and drink out of the wired monkey's bottle. In the same cage, they would have a stuffed terry cloth pretend monkey, but it didn't have any food or milk or anything, but it was more cozy, cuddly, soft. And they discovered that these baby monkeys would be with the terry cloth soft monkeys the majority of the day, and then just go up to the cold wired monkeys to drink the milk, and then they'd go right back to the soft monkey. And then they also discovered that when the monkey that was made of terry cloth was in the cage, the baby monkeys would get braver and explore their surroundings. But when they were moved, the terry cloth monkey away from the baby monkeys were more frightened and they wouldn't be as brave and they wouldn't explore their surroundings. They also did, just kind of sad for the monkeys, but they also did studies where they would scare the monkeys and they would see that the monkeys would run to the terry cloth pretend mom rather than the cold wired pretend mom that actually had the milk. So these studies, and they were done in the 50s and 60s, actually indicated that the baby monkeys more bonded to what was warm and cozy and soft than cold and wired, even though that cold wired monkey had the milk. So we learned a lot about attachment at that point, that you can be the person that's feeding the child, the baby, and that isn't necessarily going to cause the bonding that you would hope. It's going to be more the nurturing, kind, soft things.